Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about fixing you. Now, the number one thing, the best thing an individual can hear from me after their first session, I still work one-on-one with clients and I create courses, and we'll get back to that later. But before we get into this, I'm going to give you the secrets on how you can avoid that next surgery. Before we do that, please hit the bell notifications, hit the subscribe button, and give me a thumbs up so it shares this algorithm. Super competitive on YouTube, so anything you can do helps me and my family. The number one thing people want to hear is that I can fix them. And that is one of the biggest gifts I can give someone. Like, yeah, I can fix you. You're fixable. So after that first session, I do some evaluations and I come up with a game plan to set it up. So today I'm going to give you the kind of the template for that game plan. Now the information is all out there, and so there are lots of different trainers that are out there that can give you information. But the biggest problem I see with individuals is they never stick with anything and they're bouncing from one thing to another, and then they give up. So the number one thing you can do to avoid that next surgery, if you have aches and pains, one particularly that's really bothering you, is clean up your eating. And you're like, come on, really? You're going to start with this again? We have to clean up your eating from a point that I'm not putting you on a diet, but we have to take out things that are creating inflammation. Once we start doing that, we bring down the inflammation, the body has a chance to heal. Now, the second thing we want to do is stretch, mobilize, and regain range of motion. Again, not rocket science, but a lot of people don't stick to that, or they shy away from that discomfort. And I said discomfort because that's a critical component. If I'm putting a client in pain, they usually make that face, that pain face, like, and you don't want to be in that kind of discomfort, that kind of pain. We want to be in a discomfort where you can breathe through, you're stretching muscle tissue, you're regaining range of motion, you're mobilizing a joint. So for instance, if you have knee pain and can't bend your knee, that is a major problem that needs to be addressed first. Now, if you have a major injury, you're going to see a doctor to make sure you have actually ligaments that are supporting it. But if you have a small sprain that's been chronic for 6 months or more, these are things that just don't get better. I always tell my clients, doing nothing is rarely the best choice. We have to take action in our healing. And so regaining that range of motion. So whether that be a simple test like, can you bring your heel to your butt on a traditional quad stretch? Does that knee have range of motion? If it doesn't, we have to regain that. So that's the second step. The third one, and these are all the answers, and this is where they start to get into the minutia. Now, actually, even in the stretches, but rehabilitative exercise is very, very effective. Now, the challenge for me and for a lot of trainers is to give something that's easy. And so where a trainer really shows his merit is that you give people an easy to understand program that's feasible for them. You can give people 100 things that they'll promptly be overwhelmed with doing and not do them. But if you give them that simple step, that small step is really what differentiates one trainer to the other. So do the rehab. The next step is to work with strengthening. Now, rehabilitative and strength are one and the same. But once you regain that percentage, let's say you're going from 0, you have nothing, and you get that 10%, that's where we start. Once you get that 10% strength, now you start going into more traditional strength and conditioning. Now, you should be strength and conditioning because you are living a life where you're playing and doing your hobbies, and you want to do those things so you avoid injury. But a lot of people don't integrate that, like, well, my play is my joie de vivre, and why do I need to train for it? I'm like, look, I live with a bunch of people in my family. I have 5 kids and a wife that I've been with for 30 years. They're super active. They have tons of hobbies, but I'm always on them about getting their strength training. And they know that when they start getting signals from their body, I'm like, oh, I got to spend a little time in the weight room. And we keep our weight room here. It's diverse for what it has. We got rock climbers, we got ultra marathoners, we got mountain bikers, we got snowboarders. And so ultimately we need to prepare the body for those things. So integrate your strength training. And I'm always about minimum effective dose, doing just enough to get better, not sitting in the weight room. Now, I do enjoy the weight room. I grew up in the weight room. And so I have a tendency to get that second wind and really fire off all those positive hormones in my body. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Adrenaline gets going. But that's where we really have to pump the brakes and be systematic about understanding why we're doing the strength training. If it's the end all, well, then there's a good chance you're going to train so hard that you need to go take what we call a muscle nap and need to recover from it. Yeah, a muscle nap, that's what I call it. When you're training so hard that you need to recover from your workout so that you can actually be a present person. Now, most people don't have the time in their day to invest in just working out and being so tired that they can't do anything. And if you're a professional bodybuilder, or you're striving to be that, or you're a professional strongman, you're going to be training in abundance and eating in abundance and recovering in abundance. But the fact is, most of us don't do that. We have to make livings another way. So we want to provide, we do want to feel good after the gym, and we want to get results. Now, the big one that we're going to finish off with, and this is the secret to the template, is that mindset. One of the big reasons people don't get hurt is because they don't visualize themselves getting better. And so this borders on a little bit of philosophy. One of the big reasons I can heal individuals, first off, they trust me. And as soon as they trust me, they start really investing in the training. And when I see that switch in an individual, and that's why after their first session, I can usually decide, I'm like, oh, we're going to be a match or not, is if I feel that connection. And so I still work with individuals via Zoom and FaceTime, and I can pick that up and see they're in. I'm going to be able to make huge gains. They're going to get better. They're going to live the life and their hobbies of their dreams. So you have to be vested and really have that positive. I'm going to heal. I'm going to, this knee, for example, this knee is going to be strong and provide me the mobility that I need to surf, train, or whatever it is you do. For me, I want my body to work. So when I roll and I'm training jiu-jitsu, it feels powerful, explosive, mobile, and has great endurance, right? So I visualize that when I'm doing my training and rehabilitative if I ever have an ache or a pain. It's a terrible spot to be in, to be like, okay, I hope this knee holds up when I'm surfing right now. That's not where you want to be. You want to be like, I'm confident and strong and I'm ready to go. And so those are some simple framework. That's a simple framework that I design in one-on-ones and also in my courses. So if you're interested in this, guys, I'm so excited. I have the link down below that for my Get Out of Pain workshop. It's free and it'll touch on everything we just did, but just a little bit more, okay, to kind of give you a little bit more insight into these steps. All right, get out there and train.